I'm shooting some pieces for the Petrucci Family Foundation, a collection of African American art, and I'm shooting it down in Philly at Atelier, which is a massive storage facility. I think it was an old parking garage, about 5 stories, that services a lot of the large institutions like the Met, the Guggenheim, and a lot of big collectors also in New York and across the country. Because of the confined space and the fact that I can't shoot off the ceiling and make light big and soft, with a piece this size, you're going to have fall off. So basically I'm taking 2 separate exposures, one for the high and one for the low area. You can see my settings here, 160th of a second to remove any available light from the shot, ISO 160, f10, and I'm shooting into Capture One Pro on a 2020 MacBook Pro. And then I'm going to combine them in Photoshop with the marquee, feathered around 300. I'm going to use the curve tool to create the right balance of exposure on both layers. Then I'm going to sandwich them together, and the output is generally requested by these clients as a TIFF and also as a JPEG. If it's in a frame, we have to include the frame and also the print itself if it's a lot smaller than the frame. So this is pretty close. The frame pretty much is the piece, and so it'll probably just be one shot. If the ceiling was white and finished, I would be bouncing off that. I don't like soft boxes. I don't like containing light and controlling it. I like it to spread and be big and uniform. But here I have no choice. So these soft boxes are just standard 24 by 32s, and I'm putting them together and sort of shooting down the same way the light would fall off a ceiling, rather than putting them on both sides of the piece and trying to cause a crossfire. I don't want those cross shadows, especially with art when you have textural paintings. You're going to get 2 shadows that's really annoying. I want it to look a lot more uniform and a lot more natural, and have the shadows be directional and from top down. I have 2 old Calumet scrims that are plastic. That's to kill reflections that are coming at me from the background. You can see the whole room is white. Even with the light contained like this, I'm still going to get reflections of things in the background and myself. I actually have to put a mask up above the camera and below the camera and shoot some of these 2 or 3 times and collage them together for reflections. This Kara Walker is one of them, where I can see myself in the top and see myself in the bottom. So the final is a collage like the big piece. I also have to use a polarizer when the frames or a sculpture is a little bit too reflective, and I need to neutralize that out a little bit. The first thing I do in Capture One is square everything, all 4 sides, because no matter how clean the lenses are, there's going to be distortion. I'm shooting these with either a Sony Zeiss 70-24 or the 70-200. That way I can zoom in really easily for the print that's inside the frame, often below an undermat. A lot of reflective frames, especially silver and gold, will completely blow out, and then what I'm usually doing is exporting these finals to Photoshop. And what I'm usually doing in Photoshop is just cutting out an area that's similar and putting it over the top of the area that's blown out. And then again, with the marquee feathered around 300 dpi, just slowly trying to make that look a little bit more natural as the end result. And the dimensions of these finals ended up being around 17 or 16 by 25 or 26, around 300 dpi, and again, both as TIFFs and JPEGs.